So the next we are going to discuss about the various types of electrons. So here we have three different types of electrons for any molecule. So in any molecule the types of electron presence are of three types. They are sigma electrons, pi electrons and n electrons. So sigma electrons, it is indicated by sigma, the symbol sigma. Pi electrons are indicated by pi, and n means non-bonding electrons. Okay, so here the sigma electrons or the pi electrons are the bonding electrons. So these two are the bonding electrons. So these bonding electrons are present in the bonding orbitals, and n electrons, they are present in the non-bonding orbitals. The name is also given as non-bonding electrons. Okay, so first coming to the sigma electrons. Okay, so these sigma electrons are associated with the saturated bonds as in single bonds. Okay, they are associated with the single bonds, saturated compounds. So the electrons present in the saturated compounds are called the sigma electrons. So here these sigma electrons are involved in formation of sigma bonds. The sigma electrons are involved in formation of sigma bonds. In these sigma bonds, the sigma electrons are tightly held. Because they are tightly held, so the bonds formed, that is the sigma bonds formed, are also strong bonds. Okay, so the sigma electrons are involved in formation of sigma bonds are very strong bonds. The sigma bonds are normally strong because the electrons involved in them are very tightly held. Because of that tightness, it is very difficult to break that bonds. So they are very strong bonds. So the energy required for breaking these bonds should be very high. So for an electron to get transition from the bond, it requires more energy because they are already the stronger bonds. They require more energy for the transitions to occur. But the UV visible region, the energy of the UV visible region is not sufficient to overcome that attraction. Okay, so therefore the compounds containing the sigma bonds such as CH, C bond C, OH, so these do not absorb the UV visible radiation. Okay, so UV visible radiation is not absorbed by the sigma bonds. One reason is because the electrons present in the sigma bonds are very tightly held, so that it requires greater energies to bring about the transitions. And the UV visible region, the wavelengths of the UV visible region, they are having lesser energy, so that energy will not be sufficient to bring about such transitions. So the sigma electrons normally they are present in the C bond H, C bond C and OH. Okay, so all these they cannot absorb the UV radiations. So here they appear as colorless in UV region. So these transitions or the sigma electrons, they do not show up in the UV region, so they appear as colorless, and these can be used as solvents in UV spectroscopy. So why we have to use them as solvents? That is because, so whatever chemical species analysis that we are doing in the UV, okay, if our solvent will also absorb the radiation, how much transmission is happening, or what is the data that we are getting from the UV visible spectrophotometer. So that will be solvent plus the chemical species. So here whatever solvents that you are using for the preparation of the solutions, those solvents should not get absorbed in the UV visible region. So here, as these sigma electrons, they do not absorb the UV visible region, they cannot, the UV visible energy cannot be sufficient to bring about those transitions. We can use such molecular species as solvents in the UV spectroscopy. Next coming the pi electrons. So these pi electrons are associated with the unsaturated bonds. So unsaturated bonds like double bonds and triple bonds. Okay, saturated means single bonds, so they are associated with the sigma electrons. So here this pi electrons are associated with the unsaturated compounds where they may have double bonds or triple bonds in the compounds. Okay, so mostly alkenes, alkynes, other aromatic compounds, they all have these unsaturated bonds. So any compound which is having unsaturated bonds, okay, without any lone pair of electrons, okay, so no, it should not have any heteroatoms or it should not have any halogens, it should have only double and triple bonds, only unsaturation. So such examples are any alkenes, alkynes and aromatic compounds. So in all these compounds we have these pi electrons. So these pi bonds are weak, okay, so the pi bonds are weak. Why? Because the electrons, the pi electrons which are involved in formation of the pi bonds are very loosely held. So sigma electrons are tightly held, thereby the sigma bonds are strong, but these pi electrons are loosely held. As they are loosely held, the bonds are very weak, okay, so they are easy to get excited. So upon giving the UV region, UV radiations, so these UV radiations can easily bring about the transitions in pi electrons, okay. So the transitions of the pi electrons is given, will give absorption bands in the UV region, okay. Sigma electrons, they are very tightly held, so UV energy is not sufficient, but here as these pi electrons in the pi bond are very loosely held, so because they are loosely held, easily when we are giving the UV radiation, the transitions will occur, so thereby we will be getting absorption bands in the UV region for the pi electrons. The next type of electrons are non-bonding electrons. So as they are non-bonding electrons, they are indicated by N, okay. N means non-bonding electrons. So here, as the name indicates, non-bonding, so these are not involved in bonding between atoms in the molecule, okay. So they do not involve in any bond formations, okay. So these exist as lone pair on the atoms, okay. They exist as a lone pair atoms, just like nitrogen, oxygen, sulfur. So all these have lone pair of electrons. So these heteroatoms, okay, the heteroatoms like nitrogen, oxygen, sulfur, and also various halogens like fluorine, bromine. Okay, F, Cl, Br, I, etc. So all these are halogens. So in either in heteroatoms or in the halogens which have lone pair of electrons, in those we find these non-bonding electrons. So these are just seen as lone pair of electrons and they are not involved in any bond formation. And these N electrons, they are less firmly held as compared to the sigma electrons. When compared to sigma electrons, they are less firmly held. Hence, easily they can be excited by UV radiations. Okay. So, sigma electrons, they cannot be get excited by UV radiations, but pi electrons or N electrons, they can be excited by the UV radiations. Okay. So this only sigma electrons, as they are very strong bonds, they cannot be excited by the UV, whereas pi and N, that is non-bonding electrons, can easily get transist with the help of UV radiations. Now coming to the electronic transitions. So as we have discussed already, there are three types of electrons, sigma, pi and N. So based upon their transitions from the lower energy level to higher energy level, okay, based upon the transitions from the lower energy level to higher energy level, we are having 4 practically possible transitions. Actually we are having 6 type of transitions, out of which only 4 are practically possible. So here the transitions occur from the ground state or lower energy level to higher energy level or to the excited state. Okay. So from the ground state or lower energy level to higher state or excited state, the electrons get transist. So by absorbing the UV radiation, here we are studying only about the UV visible radiation. So the absorptions which are occurring in the UV visible radiation. So here the electrons from the lower energy level or from the ground state, they absorb the UV visible radiation and then get excited to the excited states. Okay, so here we are only discussing about the absorption. So here the orbitals which are present in the lower energy level are bonding orbitals and non-bonding orbitals. In the bonding orbitals we are having two, which is bonding pi orbital and bonding sigma orbital, and the anti-bonding orbitals we have N. So N is a non-bonding electron. So N electrons are present in the non-bonding orbital. And then coming to the excited state, we are having two anti-bonding orbitals. So these are anti-bonding pi star orbital and anti-bonding sigma star orbital and anti-bonding pi star orbital. Okay. So in the ground state, bonding sigma, bonding pi, and non-bonding N electron, N orbital, and then in the excited state we have anti-bonding pi star orbital and anti-bonding sigma star orbital. So the ground state or the lower energy level, here the orbitals will be mostly occupied. So in the normal stage or in the rest state, mostly the electrons will be present in this ground state. So these are called as HOMO. HOMO. HOMO stands for highly occupied molecular orbitals. Okay, HOMO stands for highly occupied molecular orbitals. So from these highly occupied molecular orbitals, by absorbing the UV visible radiations, they get excited to the higher energy levels. So these higher energy levels, as we already know, they are very unstable. So because they are very unstable, only for some time the electrons stay there, and after some of the time the energy loss will happen and they come back to the ground state emitting the radiation. So the excited states are called LOMO, which is least unoccupied molecular orbital. The ground states are called HOMO, highly occupied molecular orbital, and the excited states are called LOMO, which is least unoccupied molecular orbitals. So the transitions occur from the HOMO to LOMO. In other words, we can say the transition happens from HOMO to LOMO. So here the four practically possible transitions are: transition from the bonding sigma orbital to, as we are seeing here, there are four different transitions. So from bonding sigma orbital to anti-bonding sigma star orbital. So from bonding sigma orbital to anti-bonding sigma star orbital, the transitions happen, and that is given as sigma to sigma star transition. Then we have transition from bonding pi orbital to anti-bonding pi star orbital. Bonding pi orbital to anti-bonding pi star orbital, and that is given as pi to pi star transition. Then similarly we have from the non-bonding orbital. From non-bonding orbital, they will be going to anti-bonding pi star orbital and anti-bonding pi orbital, sigma orbital. Okay, so here from non-bonding n orbital to anti-bonding pi star orbital. So that gives a transition n to sigma star transition. And then similarly we are having non-bonding n orbital to anti-bonding pi star orbital, which gives a transition called n to pi star transition. So here we are having all these four practically possible transitions, which are sigma to sigma star, pi to pi star, n to pi star and n to sigma star. So along with this, two other theoretically possible transitions are bonding sigma orbital to anti-bonding pi star orbital, sigma to pi star orbital, and similarly bonding pi orbital to anti-bonding sigma star orbital. Okay, bonding pi orbital to anti-bonding sigma star orbital. So these two type of transitions are theoretically they are there, but practically they are highly impossible. So practically the four possible transitions that we are going to study are sigma to sigma star, pi to pi star, n to pi star, and n to sigma star transitions. Along with them we have sigma to pi star and pi to sigma star, which are only theoretically possible. So first discussing about the sigma to sigma star transitions. So here, as we have already seen in the earlier diagram, so here the transition of an electron happens from bonding sigma orbital to anti-bonding sigma star orbital. So the transitions which are given as sigma to sigma star transitions, bonding sigma to anti-bonding sigma star transitions. So here these transitions mostly happen in the unsaturated hydrocarbons. They usually happen in the unsaturated hydrocarbons, in which the valence electrons are involved in sigma bond formation. Here the valence electrons which are present, they are involved in the sigma bond formation. So here the one more thing is, no lone pair of electrons should be there. Only valence electrons which are involved in the sigma bond formation will be present, and only those will show us the sigma to sigma star transition. And the other thing is that there should be, no lone pair of electrons will be there. Only such molecules like saturated hydrocarbons will give sigma to sigma star transitions. Here, as we are saying, what the valence electrons are involved in sigma bond formation. Again, getting back to the basics, sigma bonds are very strong because the sigma electrons are very tightly held. So here, as the sigma bonds are very strong, it is very difficult for the UV radiations to bring out such transitions. Okay, so since the sigma bonds are very strong, the energy required to bring about these transitions is very high. So such transitions are studied only under vacuum UV region. Vacuum UV region, that means below 200 nanometer. So as the wavelength is less, energy will be more. We have discussed in the previous classes that energy and wavelength are inversely proportional. So when the wavelength is less, energy will be more. So here in the vacuum UV region, which is below 200 nanometers, only this type of transitions can be studied. So here the examples of molecules which are having sigma to sigma star transitions are saturated hydrocarbons like methane, which is having a lambda max value of 122 nanometer. Then we have ethane, 135 nanometer. Then we have propane, which is having 135 nanometer again, and cyclopropane, which is having 190 nanometer as the lambda max value. So these are all the examples of the sigma to sigma star transitions, only saturated compounds, and that to hydrocarbons. And the valency electron should involve in formation of sigma bonds, and there should be no lone pair of electrons. Okay, so normally lone pair of electrons, they are present in heteroatoms or in the halogens. As here we are seeing in the examples, these are only saturated hydrocarbons. We are not having any halogens or heteroatoms there. So these which are having single bond, the compounds with single bonds, can be taken as examples for this sigma to sigma star transitions. And then we have n to sigma star transitions. So here n to sigma star transition, here they require less energy than sigma to sigma star transitions. So here for the excitation of the electrons here in this to get this type of transitions, it requires lesser energy when compared to sigma star transitions, and these are observed under normal or ordinary UV visible spectrophotometer. So these type of transitions can be studied using normal UV visible spectrophotometer. So here these n to pi star transitions to occur in an organic molecule, it should contain heteroatom like nitrogen, oxygen, sulfur, and halogens. So N means non-bonding. Non-bonding means it should have lone pair of electrons. Where do we have the lone pair of electrons? Usually from the heteroatoms or from the halogens. So for these type of transitions to occur in a molecule, it should have heteroatoms or the halogens. Okay, and the peaks due to these transitions occur from 180 nanometer to 250 nanometer. So earlier sigma to sigma star is below 200 nanometer, that is in vacuum UV region. So these type of transitions N to sigma star, they occur in a wavelength region of 180 to 250 nanometers. The examples of the compound, so here we have to have either heteroatom or a halogen. For example, methylene chloride. Methylene chloride is having chloride which is having a lone pair of electron. So methylene chloride which is having the lambda max value of 173 nanometer, and water, it has oxygen which is a heteroatom, again lone pair of electrons are present, so which is having a wavelength maxima of 191 nanometer, and methanol, again we have oxygen here, it is having a wavelength lambda of 203 nanometers. And similarly we have ethanol, again we have a oxygen here with lone pair of electrons. So this is having a lambda max value of 204 nanometers. Either in this also we have the oxygen lone pair of electron. So here either can be taken as example which is having a lambda max value of 215 nanometer, and then we have trimethylenamine. In here we have the heteroatom nitrogen. So this nitrogen again here also this N2 pi star transitions, N2 sigma star transitions can be seen. So this is having a lambda max value of 227 nanometer, and then we have chloroform. In this chloroform again we have this chlorine. So here also we can see this possibility of the N2 sigma star transition. This chloroform is having a lambda max value of 237 nanometer, and then carbon tetrachloride. Here also we are having chloride, so which is again a halogen which is having lone pair of electrons. So it is having a lambda max value of 257 nanometer, and then methyl iodide, here we are having iodide which is again having lone pair of electrons which are halogen. So it is having a lambda max of 258 nanometer. So in all these compounds we have N2 sigma star transitions. Then pi to pi star transitions. So pi to pi star, again what type of electrons are present? They are pi electrons. Pi electrons means unsaturated compounds. Either we have double bonds or triple bonds. So here the transitions occur corresponding to these transitions occur corresponding to the excitation of an electron from a bonding pi orbital to anti-bonding pi star orbital. So that results in pi to pi star transition. So here the energy requirement, coming to the energy requirement, they require lesser energy than N2 pi star transition. Okay, sigma to sigma star requires more energy, and then comes N2 sigma star, and then comes N2 pi star, and last comes the pi to pi star transitions. So here as an requirement of energy, it takes lesser energy for the excitation than N2 pi star transition. Okay, and this type of transition, that is pi to pi star transitions, will lead to three types of bands, which is B bands, E bands and K bands. B bands means benzoic bands, E means ethylenic bands, and K means conjugated bands. So this type of transitions leads to three types of bands. We will discuss about the absorption bands in detail. Okay, so these three types of absorption bands are possible with pi to pi star transitions. And then these compounds containing double bonds, triple bonds such as alkenes, alkynes, cyanides, so azo compounds, carbonyl compounds, aromatic compounds, so all these are examples of this. In all these compounds we see this pi to pi star transitions. So all these compounds, they have either double bonds or triple bonds, because of which this pi to pi star transitions are possible. And the last type of transition, N2 pi star transition. So in N2 pi star transition, the transition happens from non-bonding n orbital to anti-bonding pi star orbital. So that results in formation of N2 pi star transition. So here n non-bonding orbital means it should have n electrons. N electrons means they should have either halogens or heteroatoms. And then pi star. Pi star means pi electrons. Pi electrons, they are occurring either in the unsaturated compounds like double bonds or triple bonds. So here we should have unsaturation with the halogen or unsaturation with the heteroatom. Only such compounds are possible to give N2 pi star transitions. So the examples of such compounds, we have all these type of bonds involved in them, like carbon double bond oxygen, NO2, NO, nitrous oxide, NO, and then N double bond N. So in all these compounds we have heteroatom and also we have the unsaturation. So all these type of molecules are characteristic for this N2 pi star transition. Okay, so here we should have a heteroatom. From a heteroatom, the transition occurs to a pi orbital, from a non-bonding orbital which is having heteroatom to a anti-bonding pi star orbital where double bond or triple bond is present. To such orbitals the transitions happen. So here this type of transitions require least amount of energy than all other type of transitions. When compared to all other type of transitions, this requires the least amount of energy. So, and the pi to pi star transition and N to pi star transition, they both occur at near UV and visible region, that is from 180 nanometer to 700 nanometer. So from near UV to 700 nanometer, almost the visible range. So for all this wavelength, the UV visible, for all this wavelength of UV visible radiations, pi to pi star and N to pi star transitions occur. So this is the most useful for all the types of analysis. So most of the chemical species that we are studying in the UV spectrophotometer or UV visible spectrophotometer should be having this either pi to pi star transition or N to pi star transition. Okay, and now coming to the order of energies. Okay, so here N to pi star require more energy to bring out the transitions, as both of them are having sigma electrons. Sigma electrons are strongly held, because of which more radiations are required to bring about the transitions. So here we are going from higher energy to lower energy. Okay, so here sigma to sigma star transitions require more energy when compared to N to pi star, and that requires more energy than pi to pi star, and that requires more energy to N to pi star. So the highest energy is sigma to sigma star and the least energy is required for N to pi star transition. Okay, and mostly pi to pi star and N to pi star are studied in UV visible region. So these are about the electronic transitions. And next, coming to the formation of the absorption bands. So the spectrum, normally when we see a spectrum, it consists of a sharp peaks, and these peaks correspond to different transitions. Okay, so this transitions means the promotion of electron from one energy level to next energy level. So when an electron is moving from one energy level to another energy level, it results in formation of a various peaks. All these peaks together will form a band. So the spectrum consists of a sharp peaks, and each peak will correspond to the promotion of an electron from one electronic level to next electronic level. Okay, so in a molecule we have so many electrons. Each of the electrons will go for the transition. So all these results in formation of peaks. All these peaks together will give us a absorption band. So during the promotion, when an electron is moving from one electronic energy level to the next electronic energy level, the associated vibrational and rotational energy changes will also take place. So as we have discussed already in the previous classes, we have electronic energy levels, vibrational energy levels and rotational energy levels. So when an electron is moving from one electronic mode to the next electronic mode, the associated vibrational and rotational changes will also take place. So those transitions will also occur. So all these transitions will give us a band of transitions. So thus large number of possible transitions are there, because electronic transitions, vibrational energy transitions and rotational energy transitions. So large possibility of transitions is there. So hence not just one wavelength, that means for all these transitions to occur, not only one single wavelength but a range of wavelengths is required. So suppose from 200 to 300 nanometer or 200 to 250 nanometer. So a range of radiations is required to bring about all these transitions. Okay. That leads to formation of different bands. And there are four types of absorption bands: K bands, R bands, B bands and E bands. K bands are called conjugated bands. It starts with the letter K and it is a Greek word. Okay, and later conjugated has become conjugated. So K bands are conjugated bands. R bands means radical bands. Okay, R stands for radical, so they are given as radical bands. And B bands are benzoic bands and E bands are etheric bands. So first coming to the K bands. So these K bands originate due to pi to pi star transition. Okay, the origination of K band is from pi to pi star transitions. Pi to pi star transitions means they have the unsaturation, that means conjugated systems. Okay, so pi to pi star transitions from a compound containing the conjugated system, and these types of bands arise in dienes, polyenes and enones. Okay, we have either dienes, polyenes or enones, etc. So all these compounds we see this K bands. Okay, for example, we have estophenone and 1,3-butadiene. So the lambda max value of estophenone is 240 nanometer and the corresponding E max value is 13,000. Similarly, we have 1,3-butadiene, which is also having this pi to pi star transition. So where the absorption K band is formed. Here we have the lambda max value of 270 nanometer and E max at 21,000. And then similarly we have R band. As we know, R band stands for radical band. So these originate due to N to pi star transition. Only R band originates in N to pi star. Remaining all the three bands originate in pi to pi star transitions. So this R band originates in N to pi star transitions where a single chromophoric group which is having at least one lone pair of electron. So N means again it is a non-bonding orbital. It is having non-bonding electrons. So in this non-bonding electrons we have lone pair of electrons. So on a heteroatom where lone pair of electrons are having, so in those transitions, in N to pi star transitions only, R band is possible. R band is radical where we have a free radical, and these are less intense. These bands are less intense and the E max value is below 100. So as we can see here, the E max value for the two examples that we have taken is below 100. So we have examples of acetone and acetaldehyde. So acetone is having a lambda max value of 270 nanometer and E max at 15, and acetaldehyde is having a lambda max value of 293 nanometer and E max 12. And then B bands as they are benzoic bands. So here they again arise in pi to pi star transition. Okay, B bands, K bands and E bands, they arise in pi to pi star transitions. So here the pi to pi star transitions in aromatic or heteroaromatic molecules, that means Rick closure systems. So in these only we will see these B bands, benzenoid bands. So here benzene shows an absorption of 230 to 270 nanometers. Usually it is 255 nanometer for benzene. So when a chromophoric group like phenol, okay, phenol, when phenol is attached or when OH group is attached, the benzene becomes phenol. When an other chromophoric group like NH2 is attached, the benzene will become aniline. Okay, so here when a chromophoric group like OH, NH2, any of these chromophoric groups, when they are attached to the benzene ring, so the B bands will be observed. Okay, because of shifting. A chromophore, when a chromophore is attached, what will happen? There will be a shift of wavelength to longer side. That means there will be an increase in the wavelength. So from 255 nanometer of a benzene, it will become, if OH is attached, it will become phenol, which is having 270 nanometer. If NH2 is attached, NH2 is also a chromophore. When NH2 is attached, it will become aniline, which is having a lambda max value of 282 nanometer. So like that, when a chromophoric group is attached to a benzoid ring system, so then we observe these B bands. Okay, and these are more intense than K bands. When compared to K bands, they are more intense. For example, we have benzene phenol. So benzene lambda max value is 255 nanometer and Emax at 215 nanometer. Phenol we have 270 nanometer and Emax value of 1450. Whenever there is a chromophoric group, we see this B bands. So when the wavelength is shifted to longer side, obviously the Emax value will also increase. The last one we have E bands. E bands means ethylenic bands. So here E bands, they originate due to electronic transitions in benzoic systems of 3 ethylenic bonds, and that too which are in closed cyclic conjugation. You should have a benzoic ring system with 3 ethylenic bands, and also it should be a closed cycle conjugation. So these are further characterized into E1 band and E2 band. Okay, ethylenic bands are again further classified into ethylenic band 1 and ethylenic band 2. So E band will appear at shorter wavelength. Okay, E band appears at shorter wavelength and it is usually more intense when compared to E2 band. Whereas, okay, so E band, it appears at shorter wavelength and they are more intense than E2 band. When compared to E2 band, E band is more intense and at shorter wavelength, whereas E2 is a bit, it is seen at the longer wavelength region. So for example, again we are having benzene and naphthalene. For benzene, for E1 band we have a lambda max value of 184 nanometer and corresponding Emax value at 5000, and similarly for the same benzene, for E2 band which occurs at longer wavelength, we have lambda max value at 204 nanometer and corresponding Emax value at 79,000. Okay, and similarly we have naphthalene which is having E1 band at lambda max 221 and Emax value 133,000, and lambda max value for the E2 band is 286 and Emax value at 9,300. So here as we are comparing, E band is shorter wavelength. See, for the benzene, E band is shorter when compared to E2 band. Okay, so E band is occurring at 184 and E2 band is occurring at 204. And similarly naphthalene, shorter wavelength, E1 band is occurring at 221, whereas lambda max at E2 band is occurring at 286. Okay, so these are about the 4 types of absorption bands.